Hello and good day, Welcome to the Super Good Camping Podcast. My name is Pamela,
I'm Tim.
and we are from supergoodcamping.com. We're here because we're on a mission to inspire other people to get outside and enjoy camping adventures such as we have as a family. Today's guest is the new owner of an outdoor adventure company based in Paris, Ontario. They cover all the bases: paddling, hiking, camping, and instruction. They provide guided and self-guided adventures, shuttles, and instructors when required. Please welcome Adam Merrifield from Grand Experiences Outdoor Adventure Outfitters. Yay! Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us after your day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was down in Big Creek today doing a trip for a couple from, where were they from? Somewhere around London. It was good. It was a beautiful day.
Also London, Ontario.
London, Ontario.
Yeah, not like Tim and Aid, London. So it was a beautiful day, beautiful trip out in Big Creek. It's like the Amazon of Ontario. It's such a wonderful trip. So, but it was a long day. By the time I drive back from there, like an hour and a half, I was pretty tired.
I imagine, man.
You look like you got some sun too.
Yeah, lots of sun.
So I have to say that I know of you or your company. Our youngest goes to university in Brantford, and we were going down about 2 years ago. Now we went down to Brantford just to check the place out because he was before his first year. And so we wandered around Brantford a little bit. We wandered down by the Grand River, and we saw people in those little like inflatable kayak type of things floating down the Grand. And as we were standing there watching it, it looked like they were having a blast. And I was like, I need to check out, like, how do we do that? How can we? And we haven't yet done it, but I feel like it's on the bucket list of things that we would like to do. Yeah. But it looked like it was so much fun.
Yeah, the Grand River in Ontario is such a amazing resource that we have. I mean, it's from a water sport type of body of water, it's probably one of the best and longest that we have in Ontario. That's sort of continuous and unbroken. So you can actually paddle it probably from Elora all the way down to Lake Erie. At certain times of year, like the more northern parts get a little bit skinnier, but yeah, it's such a phenomenal resource. And I want to say, probably thousands upon thousands per year enjoy a little run down the river. There's a number of outfitting companies that operate in various locations. And it is like, it's one of the most treasured assets that we have in the area. So, you'll see lots of people in Brantford, you'll see lots of people in Paris and Kitchener, Cambridge, all taking advantage of the Grand River. And it's such a short window of time that we have to make use of this resource. And people, especially on the weekends and holidays, just love to float down the river, either in a tube, canoe, kayaks, and I mean, that's why we're here. I mean, that's, the company was founded like 28 years ago by Jamie Kent, and, has been in continuous operation that whole time. So, yeah, lots of people.
That's amazing. So you've just recently taken it over?
Yeah. So I want to say a number of months ago, sort of coming through some life changes at the time. Like my mom, I knew she was getting kind of older. She's been sick for a while. So, I was starting to question life, question what I'm doing. And, one thing led to another. And I reached out to, Jamie Kent, and I just asked him, I said, do you have any succession plans? And, he said, I don't, as a matter of fact, and my wife would like me to retire. So, let's start talking. So we did. I spent a little bit of time kind of volunteering for him, going out on the odd, trip here and there, just to see if it was something that I was into. Of course, I love paddling. I love being on the water. I love the Grand River. But do I want to do it for a day job, right? So I spent a bit of time with him, and, we did a couple of school trips and a couple of scout groups, did some hiking here and did some paddling there. And, I really enjoyed what was going on. And I could feel myself, getting happier, getting lighter, and one thing led to another, and here we are.
Very cool.
So did you have like previous instructor experience, or what was your background in paddling?
So that's sort of a circuitous path there. So we used to do, and this is to tie it back into super good camping. When I was a kid, we camped all the time. We did a lot of car camping, right? That usually involved a canoe, an old, had to be late 70s orange Coleman canoe with the tube running down the middle and the post from the seats, and the thing probably weighed as much as a Volkswagen Beetle. And so we would go camping. My dad would take my brother and I camping, several times a summer, and we would always make an attempt to portage that canoe, from one lake to another, right?
So, an attempt.
Yeah. So thankfully it was mostly car camping, but we did for day trips try to portage. And yeah, I mean, I remember, early on, like probably in my early teens when my dad started making me, start doing the portaging as well, grab a handle and portage. And it was, it's a miserable experience for somebody who was probably 100 pounds soaking wet at the time.
Soaking wet, yeah.
So, but my love of camping continued. My love of paddling, that particular canoe, did not. So I eventually, as I had kids, I took them camping, and, eventually got into boats and started chasing, bigger boats, better boats, but then always looking for simplicity, I came back to, canoes and kayaks in particular. And so I've been kayaking for, I guess probably the better part of 10 years. And then, maybe about 5-6 years ago, canoeing was always in the back of my head. And I was like, I really got to get back to canoeing. And Jamie Kent, again, actually at Grand Experiences, I reached out to him. He had some boats for sale. And so I bought a canoe from him, and I haven't looked back since then. Right. So instead of collecting, power boats, I started collecting canoes. So, and now I own a company who owns a whole lot of canoes.
So how many canoes have you got? Because we've got 2 hanging in the garage.
But he's got a company that has a bazillion of them.
Yeah, I know. But I
Not
want
fair.
I want to know personally how many he's got.
He doesn't have to. He can just, it's all company stuff, not mine. It's not my illness.
Expense it.
Yeah. One of the advantages, so yeah, expense it. I mean, that was one of the advantages when I was putting in my order at Novacraft is, I had a certain target that I was going to hit for a fleet of boats, and then of course I was like, you know what? Take out 2 of those fleet models. We'll put in a couple of personal boats there. I mean, company boats in there
exactly.
as well, right? So
yeah,
so I do have still on order. If Chris and or Steve are listening from Novacraft, I'm still waiting for my
patiently
waiting. Yeah. So I've got one of the flagship canoes on order coming in. So in Expedition Tough Stuff, so 16-foot Prospector flagship, and then I have a 14-foot Solo in Tough Stuff Expedition coming as well. So those would be my tripping canoes when I have time. I don't know if I'll ever have time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been an adventure to get set up so that we could actually get together to do this podcast, right?
Yeah, it has. Yeah. I missed it.
Well, your work season overlaps with the tripping season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, man. So it's not only is it costing me money to go out and do this trip, but I'm losing money because I'm not at home doing my job.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was the season too. Like, I had done a couple, like over the last couple of years, I've done a couple of backwoods camping trips, but not nearly as many as I would like to. And I had one in particular in October last year, and I was like, That's it. Enough excuses. I've got to get out there. I've got to set my calendar to make that happen. So I actually had a bunch of weekends picked this year, to do like say 3 and 4 day trips, on as many crown land camping, sort of routes as I could pick out. And, and then this happened. It was like, okay, I'm canoeing it every day. I can't really complain. Right. So
This is true. Yeah.
So, Adam, are there different levels of difficulty with the different experiences that you offer?
I would say most of them are manageable by just about everybody, but we do have some routes that we run in early spring or after a heavy rainfall, where we can get some whitewater in there for the folks that are interested in doing that. So we actually just had an experience. We had a massive rainfall, localized rainfall here in the sort of Brant area, a couple Saturdays ago, and that actually was too dangerous for us to run anybody through, through the company, right? So we shut down operations, but we took advantage of that and took all the staff out for a whitewater run, which was great, because it can actually get pretty intense. So we do have folks that they come on a waiting list for us, so that they can run that as well when the opportunity arises. But during normal summer flows, we've got a couple of routes that have the odd rapid or steep decline here and there. But really, anybody of any skill set, is probably comfortable running those. You do get, the odd person, that may dump a canoe, but it's in the summer and they have a great time doing it, and it's a story to talk about. But there are certainly lazier sections that we have. We have a section up in Kitchener at Binghamans Park. We intentionally call it the Lazy River, simply because you hop in a tube and you just kind of float down the river, and there's really nothing to stress about or worry about at all. Some of our runs, say from Paris to Brant, for instance, the first 40 minutes you may have a couple of rapids here and there, or a couple of swifts, and then after that it's pretty casual, just go with the flow. And then we have one of my favorite runs is actually Glen Morris to Paris, and that actually has a decent number of I don't want to call them rapids, but faster moving water, and a little bit more technical, and the odd rock to avoid here and there. But we haven't, it's rare, when we wouldn't consider a run, safe for most people to do. So
we'll be right back.
You're tuning into Remote Trails Radio. Garrick, you have 35 seconds to answer 4 questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What are the collection of back roads in Washington that you can discover called?
The Washington Backcountry Discovery Route.
On the trail, what's a helpful hand gesture to get the driver you see going the opposite direction?
Oh, you got to give them the shakas.
A number of fingers for number of cars behind you. What are skinny tires called?
Oh, man, I got some of them. They're pizza cutters.
Which podcast is packed with overlanding advice, P&W gems, and outdoor stories?
That would be the Remote Trails Radio.
Is there a best time of year to do the Grand?
I think the Grand River is, for me, like I'll start in April, as soon as the ice breaks off, for some of the slower moving sections, I'll be out in April, and I'll go right up until November, myself personally. So yeah, it's pretty much all season. And this year I would actually like to offer, because there's a lot of sections of the Nith and the Grand that don't freeze over, and have decent access on the shores. Like there's a lot of times, where the shore ice gets out a little bit too far. But there's some spots that remain open. So I'd actually like to consider offering some winter paddling for, the adventurous, this season. We'll see. We'll see if there's any takers on it.
That'd be interesting. I've done. Thomas and I literally just started what I suspect will be an adventure down the Whitewater stream, for lack of a better term. So we did those in wetsuits, but you're going to be in dry suits for the winter stuff.
Yeah.
Is that not a little? Is it? How is it? Cumbersome is the word that comes to mind right out of the gate. I haven't worn one, but
Yeah, I mean, cumbersome is sort of less of the problem. It's more the cost, right? So, to bring on, as an outfitter, to bring on a bunch of wetsuits that would accommodate, a number of different people, shapes and sizes, is probably going to be my biggest hurdle. So that may stop me this season from offering it. We do have a bunch of wetsuits because we do a lot of March and April, spring runs when the water flows are super high. So we get a lot of thrill seekers that want to come out and run the rivers like that. So we throw them in wetsuits because because the river is so accessible and has lots of areas to get out and stop. Like if you fell in with a wetsuit, you can pull over on the side, set up a fire, but you're not more than a 20-minute trip away from civilization. So it's not too risky or scary, if somebody got wet. But I'd love to do it properly and get dry suits. But yeah, I mean, that may be cost prohibitive.
Yeah, crazy expensive is what somebody termed it as. So.
Yes, yeah, that they are.
Yeah. And what's the duration of most of your experiences, Adam?
I would say most of them run between, say, 2.5 to 4 hours. And it, it depends on the flow rates. We have, our signature trip is Paris to Brant. That's the one that people know us most for. We have people that can, crush that in 2 hours if the flows are a little bit higher. And then we've got a lot of people who want to take that easy and they want to stretch that out to 4 hours, stop on the shore for a picnic, stop on the shore and go for a swim. And it also depends on if you've gone in a raft, for instance, versus going in a kayak, right? So the folks in the kayaks, they tend to top out at 2.5, 3 hours. Folks in the rafts, if they're really pushing it, they'll hit 3 hours, but oftentimes they'll do 4, especially if you get a headwind going against you. We do have trips that go as long as 5 hours as well.
And I think I saw, maybe I'm not 100%. I thought I saw something about 3-day, 2-night guided trips.
Yeah. So we've got a number of packages where you can either, set up an accommodation through a hotel, some of our partnering hotels, or we can book a campsite for you down at Brant Park. So Brant Conservation Area has got some beautiful campsites right along the water. So we book a campsite for you, and then we pick you up there first thing in the morning. We take you up to our 150-year-old historic shop in Paris, Ontario. We launch you right off of our dock in Paris and send you down the river, and you end up right back at Brant Park, where you get out, finish the rest of your day, have your campfire, do your camping, and then the very next morning we launch you out of Brant Park, and then we pick you up down at Cockshut Bridge later on in the day, and we can do that as self-guided or guided as well.
So when you say self-guided, like I just see you like pushing somebody off from the shore and saying, "See ya." I'm sure it's with a map. What else do you
well, so we do have a list of maps in our sort of back catalog. I haven't had the time to put them up on our website yet. But I mean, the beautiful part about a river is it goes one direction. It's hard to get lost.
I was gonna say that way.
If you're going the wrong way, then all the power to you. We instruct people, what they're looking for, Paris to Brant, for instance, we tell them there's count 4 bridges. Once you see the 4th bridge, give us a call. We'll come down and pick you up. So there's features and landmarks that we have people look for. A lot of the public launches that we end up landing at, they're hard to miss, right? So, Cockshut Bridge is hard to miss. Brant Park is hard to miss. And then, Penman's Dam, for instance, that's the end point for, Glen Morris trip. It's hard to miss Penman's Dam because there's a giant train bridge there and a dam, and big warning signs say go no farther, right? So yeah, I mean, in my experience, in my limited experience so far, it hasn't really been too much of a concern, sending people on their way, right? So
Haven't lost anybody so far.
No, haven't lost anybody so far. And it's the Grand River is such a friendly river, right? So
something that it feels like an important thing if you're paying attention out there in the audience. What are the modes of transport that you do, like kayaking, canoeing?
Yeah. So we offer rentals for kayaks, canoes, rafts, and tubes. The tubes are strictly up in our Kitchener area right now. But yeah, we offer those 4 modes of transport for water, and plus we also do guided hiking trips as well.
Well, do people sometimes bring their own canoe and say, I'd like you guys to guide me in my canoe?
Yeah. So we've got bring your own boat guided adventures. And that's actually we did a trip down at Big Creek today, and they actually brought their own boat. So they had a couple of older pelicans actually that were not the thin pelicans like you have these days, but a little bit more sturdy. So they've hung on to those for a while, and but yeah, they were the perfect boat for for Big Creek. And yeah, so we allow that. People bring their own canoes. We've had a couple of those this season as well, and we also offer like a shuttle service. If you do want to launch in your own area but you want to be picked up by us, that is an option as well. We don't list it. We just ask that you call us because we have to have it make sense with a trip that we're already doing, right? So we won't just kind of go out of our way to pick somebody up unless it just happens to work out. So I dropped off somebody at their vehicle the other day because I was doing a launch, and they just happened to catch me and say, "Hey, do you run a guiding service?" I'm like, "Yeah. Would you mind driving me back to my truck at the end of the day?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So if it works out, we're more than happy to do that as well.
Awesome.
Cool.
And on your guided trips, do you guys feed people?
So the previous owner, Jamie Kent, always used to do, his famous chili or, catered lunches, etc. All I can do this year, we'll get into the fun topic of liability insurance. So all I can do this year is supply the resources to get yourself a catered lunch. So I can't actually do any of the cooking like Jamie Kent used to. That's apparently something that liability insurance isn't willing to cover these days, not cheaply anyway. So I'm learning all of the ins and outs about liability insurance this year.
So just too much risk of somebody getting salmonella, or what's the
yeah
issue?
a lot of questions.
Or allergies, or
yeah allergies are the big one, and then food prep. They need to know that you're sort of following the appropriate Ontario guidelines for food prep, etc. So makes sense.
Yeah. No, safety first.
It's a shame, though.
It is a shame,
a big pot
right?
of chili seems like it would be great.
Yeah, and that's that was definitely a popular feature. He did a maple chili. I can't remember exactly what he called it, but it was an old family recipe, and it was so good. And we get the stoves out, so halfway through the trip, get on the shores, get the stoves out. So I can still offer something similar where I can provide the cookware and we can, engage in eating, but I can't bring the food or prepare the food.
Well,
Sadly.
early bumps and stuff as you're working towards a big, the end of the season was fabulous. Next season will be even better. Blah blah blah. It's
Yeah.
really call them growing pains. That's it.
Growing pains. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I've got a lot of those growing pains this year. Yeah.
That probably adds to the tiredness a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
I hear you, man.
So how big a crew have you got, Adam?
So we've got, I want to say 4 part-time seasonal staff, and then we've got about four or five guides. That are, a lot of the guides are actually school teachers. So as soon as they're off for the summer, they're looking for something to do, and so a couple of them are Paddle Canada instructor certified. All of them, even our part-time staff, they're all Paddle Canada certified, so that they can actually partake in some of the guided trips. So we take safety, to the nth degree, right? So we've got a flawless safety record over the last 28 years. Jamie reminds me of that every day, so I don't want to let him down. So Jamie's still on, by the way. Like he's going to stick around for a couple of years. I mean, 28 years of of running this business. He's come to learn a thing or two. Logistics, being one of them, like scheduling and logistics. Where to be at what time, and how to get boats there, people back, etc. So anyway, yeah, so he's sticking around for a couple of years, and kind of showing me the ropes. And I mean, it's really critical for him that safety comes first. And I have to agree, right? I don't want to lose anybody. I don't want anybody getting hurt. And for as easy as it is to run the Grand River, I mean, a lack of experience and getting pinned on a rock, and somebody getting a little bit overexcited, I mean, that can cause issues and people getting into trouble. So I'd like to avoid that when I can. So yeah, we have those like I said, the 4 or 5 guides, and the 4 part-time staff, and that I think keeps us going throughout the season, as far as I can tell. So we'll find out. Maybe next year I grow and expand. We'll see.
Yeah. Wow. I keep thinking about the boats, because I'm a canoe guy. Are they all like Tough Stuff T4MX type deals?
So my fleet boats are all 15-foot SPS or SP3 Novacrafts.
Right.
So a little bit thicker. They lay them up a little bit thicker than your typical.
It's a heavier plastic sort of deal, right?
Yeah, and it's a heavier boat. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, I know. I looked at them.
Yeah, which is why I went with the 15s, just to shave off a little bit of weight. And I got them all in yellow. So I don't know if you've noticed on the social media, I decided to go with a fleet color. So I got all my fleet done in yellow. And so, and it was great. I mean, previously we'd worked with Pulaski canoes and kayaks. And so they're out of, I want to say, Lakefield.
Okay.
So it's about 6 hours, east of here, right? Or east of me, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And and I was just, I was considering timing, especially at time of acquisition, and it just seemed for me to run 6 hours out that way and 3 hours that way. Yeah, 6 hours round trip, 3 hours that way, 3 hours back. Made more sense to, work with Novacraft. And
well, Novacraft is London, right? So they're like beside you.
Yeah. So round trip, it's like an hour and a half. So
yeah,
So yeah, I talked to Chris and Steve there, and I said, thinking of buying a fleet here. Here's what I'm thinking of, and you know, next year I'll probably do their Aquafusion kayaks as well. So this year in a pinch, I just had to buy a whole whack of Pelican kayaks just to get them in the water as quick as possible. But I think next year I'll probably put in an order for Aquafusions. They seem to be the right balance of weight and sturdiness, but they also have like built-in ballasts in them, so I don't ever have to worry about them sinking, which is great.
Yeah, back to that safety thing.
Yeah. Not as maneuverable as the Spirit Paluski kayaks that we've been getting, but they're super sharp looking kayak.
Cool. I've done zero kayaking like ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, none. I canoe periods. Actually, I think last year or the year before is the first time I ever paddled a solo canoe. It's probably the first time I ever paddled that wasn't tandem.
Really?
Yeah. I hadn't really thought about it until it was like, oh, this is different. Oh, because you've never done it before. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Tandem's my thing, man.
I'm actually a little bit the opposite, where I spend all my time solo canoeing, and every time you get me tandem, I'm just like, wait, I don't understand the mechanics of this. And so, especially when the bow paddler, I was doing some training the other day, and so I had a bow paddler, one of my staff, big guy, 6'4", lots of muscle, and he'd get in there and he would dig and like I could not. I had to sweep out wide every stroke. I'm just sweeping out wide just to counteract how much power he had up there. So it's definitely different for me. I'm getting used to the bow. I'm liking the bow, especially when we're going through whitewater, because that's where all the action is. That's a lot of fun up there, getting all the, gems in your prize and your, cross draws and, avoiding all the rocks. That's where I feel like I'm really engaged. But otherwise, yeah, solo paddling. It's like, I like doing the ballet of, just pivots and swirling around and, just moving where I want to move. I use a giant paddle as well, right? So not efficient for tripping at all, but just great for moving a lot of water and moving the boat around.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't racked up enough time. I know that I have to be way more cognizant of the reactivity of the boat when I'm soloing, because otherwise I try to step in and I find myself on the other side in the water. So numerous times.
Seen that happen.
Yeah. It's okay. Very low, very slow. Get in there. My goodness. But I did find it was kind of the same thing, but I could move faster. So I initially did a single blade and went out and paddled like whatever the normal way, I guess. But I also had a double, like a kayak paddle, and man, can you can just fly with that. It's like, holy mackerel. I was stunned at the speed difference I could pick up by having two blades.
Yeah, and I spend a lot of time going upriver as well. Like, when I'm not guiding or sending people down the river, I spend a lot of time fishing. And so I'll put in at one spot, but then I'll want to make my way back up to where I put in. So I bring a double bladed paddle for that reason, and also for standing up. I stand up and paddle my canoe a lot. And instead of having like a dedicated sup paddle, I'll actually use a double bladed kayak paddle, and then it's the perfect length, and I can reach right out to the bow, and I can pull back to my hip, and it's great. So.
Yeah, this is the stare of a guy that's like, yeah, no, I wouldn't even get to fully standing up before I'd be in the water every time.
Yeah, it's just something I've always done. I'll do it in a kayak every once in a while too. It's a lot more hairy in a kayak, but in a canoe I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all core muscles.
I don't have any, so that could be part of the problem. Love you too, honey. All right. So for those of you watching at home, you've seen our camera just change. I don't know. I'm technologically challenged, and I have no children here to troubleshoot for me. So we're stuck with the crappy camera that's on my laptop to finish this out. But this is the exciting part of the show. I got to say, we're about to do a draw. Hopefully you were paying attention earlier. Adam, tell us what the draw is for, and I'll tell people how they can enter.
Yep. So we can do a number of different things, but I would certainly love the opportunity to provide a guided experience for one of your lucky listeners. I think one of the more popular ones is our Big Creek Echo Adventure, which is down towards Long Point. It's been celebrated by Ontario Southwest, their tourism board, and Destination Ontario. So it's definitely a spectacular trip. But if that's too far out of the way for folks, we're more than willing to, offer something a little closer to Paris or a little closer to Kitchener. So, we'll give out a guided trip, for up to 4 hours and give you the experience, hopefully, of a lifetime.
Very cool.
We're
not allowed to enter that.
Yes.
This is the problem. Okay, so how you enter is same as we did the last time we did a draw. Send us an email with the answer to the skill testing question, which is name 3 types of watercraft offered by Grand Experiences Outdoor Adventure Outfitters. There were 4. Go back and listen. Give me 3 of them. You probably pull them off the top of your head. Send us an email to hi@supergoodcamping.com. That's hi@supergoodcamping.com. I'm doing your job now. Yeah. And we'll do a draw. So this is now airing on July 7th, 2025. We will do the draw on July 21st, 2025. We'll send you, make sure when you send the information to us, you give us your contact information. We'll get Adam to hook up with you, and you guys will be off to the races. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, cool. Off to you, young lady.
That's it for us for today. Thank you so much for watching and listening and putting up with our crappy camera.
Man.
We will talk to you again soon. Please feel free to reach out to us anytime. We are at hi@supergoodcamping.com. That's hi@supergoodcamping.com. And we are on all the social media. And you can check out Adam at Grand Experiences Outdoor Adventure Outfitters. And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.